WalletHub just ranked Flint, Michigan the most affordable city to buy a home in America. The entire country, number 1. The median home price per square foot in Flint is $61. In San Francisco, it is $1,100. Detroit came in number 2 on the same list. There are 13 Michigan cities where you can buy a home for under $130,000, and in some cases, under $70. 0, while the national median sits at nearly $300,000. The question is not why prices are this low. The question is why, at these prices, nobody is buying. Subscribe now or keep renting somewhere that costs 3 times as much. Those are your 2 options. Starting at number 13, Bay City. Population around 27,000. On the Saginaw River, median home value approximately $116,000, the highest on this list, and still less than half the national median. One of the most complete value propositions in Michigan, a working waterfront city with a naval destroyer museum, a historic community theater, Saginaw Bay ice fishing, and a state park 10 minutes north for $116,000 median. Why isn't everyone buying in Bay City? The question has a direct answer. The job market outside of healthcare and service industries is limited. Population has been declining for decades. The tax base has contracted alongside the population. And the perception of mid-Michigan caught between Detroit's problems and the beautiful lake towns that charge more has kept Bay City off most buyers' radar. For buyers whose income is remote or fixed and whose priority is value, Bay City delivers more per dollar than almost anywhere in Michigan. Number 12 has prices even lower. And a story that explains exactly why. Number 12. Pontiac. Population around 61,000. In Oakland County, one of the wealthiest counties in Michigan, median home prices among the lowest in a county where surrounding communities regularly exceed $400,000. You can buy a home in Pontiac for what a 1-year lease costs in Birmingham. 4 miles away. Why isn't everyone buying in Pontiac? The crime rate is 177% above the national average. The Silverdome, once one of the largest stadiums in America, was demolished in 2017 after sitting empty for years. General Motors restructured, and the employment base that justified Pontiac's housing prices in the 1970s no longer exists. Buyers who can afford Oakland County buy in Troy, Rochester, or Birmingham. Pontiac's prices reflect what's left after that selection process runs its course. The honest case for Pontiac: investors who buy in troubled Oakland County communities and hold for 10 years have historically seen appreciation. The case against: the 10 years can be a long time to wait in a community with those crime statistics. Number 11 has a college and prices that shouldn't make sense for a college town. Number 11. Albion. Population around 8,000. In Calhoun County, home to Albion College, a nationally recognized liberal arts institution. And median home prices that have no business being as low as they are for a city with a 4-year college on the main street. Why isn't everyone buying in Albion? The violent crime rate is 191% above the Michigan average 1,317 violent crimes per 100,000 people. The city has a 1 in 22 chance of violent victimization, drug activity, and gang tensions documented consistently in state crime data. Albion College maintains its own safety messaging because the institution's reputation and the city's crime statistics operate in different realities. The Bright Futures program provides college scholarships to Albion graduates, a direct investment in keeping young people engaged with the city. It is a genuine effort. The prices are still low because the effort has not yet changed the fundamentals that explain them. Number 10 has a waterfront, a real one, and prices that have nothing to do with what the waterfront should command. Number 10, Ecorse. Population around 9,000. On the Detroit River in Wayne County. Median home value under $74,000. A waterfront location on one of the most historically significant waterways in the Midwest, the same river that Henry Ford built his empire alongside. Why isn't everyone buying an Ecorse? Michigan placed Ecorse under a financial emergency manager, the state's mechanism for taking over a city that cannot manage its own finances. The infrastructure maintenance has fallen behind years of deferred investment. The crime rate is above state averages. The population has been declining for decades. The waterfront location that should command premium prices sits inside a fiscal and demographic context that works against it. At under $74,000 median on the Detroit River, Ecorse is one of the most striking examples of location and price being completely disconnected from each other. If you've made it this far, hit subscribe. We do this every week, the real Michigan data, not just the marketing version. Now back to the list. Number 9. Muskegon Heights. Median home value $42,700. 3 miles from Lake Michigan, one of the lowest median home values of any community in Michigan with a population over 10,000. Why isn't everyone buying in Muskegon Heights? One of the 5 most dangerous small towns in America by national crime databases. Poverty rate above 40%. Unemployment above 16%. The $42,700 median does not represent a buying opportunity that the market has missed. It represents the market's assessment of what a home in Muskegon Heights is worth, given the conditions that exist there. 3 miles north, Muskegon proper is receiving investment, opening restaurants, and attracting remote workers. The gap between $42,700 and what Lake Michigan access costs 3 miles away is one of the more dramatic real estate contrasts in Michigan. Number 8 has prices that make Muskegon Heights look expensive. Number 8. Benton Harbor. Population around 10,059. On Lake Michigan. Median home prices well below $100,000, and a location steps from a Great Lakes shoreline that costs millions of dollars to access in other markets. Why isn't everyone buying in Benton Harbor? Violent crime rate 332% above the Michigan average, 5.13 violent crimes per day in a city of 10,000 people. Poverty rate approaching 44%. A water crisis in 2021 lead contamination, residents advised not to drink from the tap while Flint was still in the national news. St. Joseph, directly across the river less than 200 feet wide, operates in a completely different real estate market. Same geography. The river is the only separator, the most dramatic location to price disconnect on this list. Lake Michigan is steps away. The price reflects everything other than the lake. Number 7 is Michigan's capital. Its prices should not belong on this list. They do. Number 7. Lansing, Michigan's capital. Population around 112,000, and a city where certain neighborhoods, particularly the north side and east side, have home prices that appear on affordability lists alongside cities half their size. Michigan Avenue through central Lansing has median listing prices around $50,000 in some corridors, among the lowest of any major street in any state capital in America. The downtown and Lansing Township areas operate at significantly higher prices. The city is not uniformly cheap. It is specifically cheap in the neighborhoods that have carried the concentrated effects of deindustrialization and the departure of the working-class employment base that once sustained them. Why isn't everyone buying in Lansing's affordable corridors? Violent crime rate 206% above the Michigan average. 3.84 violent crimes per day. The Capitol building is here. The crime statistics are also here. Buyers who want Lansing's infrastructure choose specific neighborhoods carefully. Number 6 has prices that have been this low for so long that the data has stopped feeling surprising to people who track it. Number 6. Saginaw. Population around 50,125. Median home value approximately $128,097, the Home Snacks 2026 figure for Saginaw's overall median. Certain zip codes in Saginaw list homes for under $50,000. The city's east side, where the concentrated crime and economic hardship are most severe, has housing stock that sells for figures that require a double take. Why isn't everyone buying in Saginaw? Violent crime rate 407% above the Michigan average. 2,201 violent crimes per 100,000. Residents face a 1 in 45 chance of violent victimization. The same deindustrialization story that explains every city on this list plays out in Saginaw with particular severity, the manufacturing economy that built a mid-sized city left. And the housing prices reflect the city that remains. Downtown Saginaw revitalization is real. The riverfront investment is genuine. The east side is a separate and simultaneous reality. Number 5 has River Rouge in the name and prices that reflect exactly where it sits in Michigan's economic geography. Number 5, River Rouge. Population around 7,500. Wayne County. On the Detroit River, one of the cheapest places to live in Michigan according to Home Snacks 2026 data. The steel and chemical industries that once made River Rouge a significant industrial community are reduced shadows of what they were. Why isn't everyone buying in River Rouge? The infrastructure built for a working-class city of 15,000 is now maintained by 500 people with a tax base that reflects the smaller population. Crime rates above state averages. The waterfront location on the Detroit River, which should be an asset, sits inside a fiscal and demographic context that works against it. Adjacent Ecorse has the same story. They share a border and a trajectory. River Rouge is where the affordability conversation about Southeast Michigan gets genuinely stark. Detroit River access. Wayne County infrastructure. Prices that would be considered remarkable in any other context. Number 4 is surrounded by Detroit on all 4 sides, and its prices reflect exactly what that means. 4 more cities. The prices keep going down. Hit subscribe, we cover Michigan every week. The data that the real estate industry doesn't advertise. Now back to the list. Number 4, Highland Park. Population around 11,056. Completely surrounded by Detroit. Violent crime rate 95% above the Michigan state average, the highest of any city in the state. Poverty rate exceeding 45%. Unemployment the highest in Michigan. The home prices in Highland Park reflect all of that. Properties list in Highland Park for figures that buyers in other states assume are typos. They are not typos. They are the market's honest assessment of what a home is worth in a city where the streetlights were turned off in 2011 because the city could not pay the electric bill and residents had to crowdfund solar-powered streetlights for their own blocks. Why isn't everyone buying in Highland Park? The question answers itself. The prices are not low because the market missed something. They are low because the market sees everything clearly. Number 3 is the city that WalletHub ranked number 2 most affordable in America. Its prices tell the whole story. Number 3, Detroit. WalletHub's number 2 most affordable city to buy a home in America in 2026. Median home value approximately $65,071 by Home Snacks data. Median listing price for Detroit homes overall around $100,000 as of January 2026, though this varies dramatically by neighborhood. Downtown condos push the median toward $500,000. 1 mile northwest on Michigan Avenue, the median asking price was $50,000. Detroit is the most complicated entry on this list. The violent crime rate is 349% above the state average 1,781 violent crimes per 100,000. 252 murders in a recent year. Those numbers are real. Also real, the murder rate in 2023 was the lowest in over 50 years. Downtown investment is genuine and visible. The Detroit Institute of Arts is world-class. The Riverwalk is excellent. Revitalized districts North End, Milwaukee Junction, Core City, Wildermere Park are already 20 to 40% more expensive than 5 years ago. Why isn't everyone buying in Detroit? Because Detroit requires knowledge. The difference between a $50,000 home in a stabilizing neighborhood and a $50,000 home in a neighborhood that is not stabilizing is not visible from a Zillow listing. It requires local knowledge that buyers without Detroit connections do not have. The people who are buying in Detroit, investors, developers, the diaspora returning, have that knowledge. The people who are not buying mostly don't. Number 2 was ranked the number 1 most affordable city in America by the entire country's standards. And buyers still aren't buying. Number 2, Flint. WalletHub's number 1 most affordable city to buy a home in America in 2026. Median home price under $60,000. Median price per square foot $61, the lowest of any city in the country. In San Francisco, the same square footage costs $1,100. In Manhattan, it costs $2,000. In Flint, it costs $61. WalletHub's analysis noted that part of Flint's affordability is due to its water crisis, but it also noted that Flint's drinking water has been in compliance with EPA standards for 6 years. Mayor Sheldon Neely stated in 2024, "We have new infrastructure, new state-of-the-art technologies. Residents never again have to worry about drinking from the Flint River water. The pipes have been replaced. The crisis that made international news has a recovery that has not made the same headlines." Why isn't everyone buying in Flint? Because the reputation of the water crisis is more durable than the infrastructure fix. Because the violent crime rate remains significant. Because the population has fallen from 200,000 to 81,000, and the trajectory is not yet convincingly reversed. Because investors who buy in Flint do so with eyes open to a recovery timeline that requires patience that most buyers do not have. Flint is the most affordable city in America to buy a home. It is also the city that requires the most homework before you do. Both things are simultaneously true. Number 1 is not a city most people outside Michigan have heard of, and its prices are the most dramatic on this list. Number 1, Hamtramck. Population around 28,000. Wayne County. Completely surrounded by Detroit like Highland Park, you cannot enter or exit Hamtramck without passing through Detroit. And the lowest overall cost of living index of any city in Michigan according to HomeSnack's 2026 data. Hamtramck is number 1 on this list, not because it has the single lowest home price. Flint and Highland Park compete for that distinction. It is number 1 because it combines the lowest cost of living index in Michigan with something that none of the other cities on this list have in the same concentration: genuine cultural vitality. Hamtramck has a significant Bangladeshi, Yemeni, and Bosnian immigrant community that has created a restaurant scene, a cultural energy, and a street-level vitality that cities with much higher home prices have been trying to manufacture with urban planning consultants and failing. The Bangladeshi restaurants on Joseph Campau are genuinely excellent. The cultural festivals are genuine community events rather than tourism products. The diversity is real and has been building for decades. Why isn't everyone buying in Hamtramck, one of the poorest cities in Michigan? Crime rates above state averages. Aging housing stock that requires significant maintenance investment. Surrounded by Detroit, which means the benefits and the challenges of Detroit's trajectory affect Hamtramck directly. And a pronunciation that confuses people enough that they sometimes don't look it up. Hamtramck is number 1 because it is the one city on this list where the low price comes with something genuinely rare. A community that chose to be here. The immigrant families that built Hamtramck did not arrive by accident. They chose a city inside Detroit's borders and built something inside it. The prices are low. The culture is not. So that's the list. 13 Michigan cities where home prices are shockingly low, and the 13 different reasons nobody is buying. A waterfront city on the Saginaw River for $116,000, an Oakland County city for what a single month's rent costs in Birmingham. A college town with a crime rate that explains its own prices. A Detroit River city under state financial oversight. A community 3 miles from Lake Michigan for $42,700. A Lake Michigan city with its own water crisis and violent crime rate. Michigan's capital with $50,000 corridors, a mid-sized city where the east side explains the west side's prices. 2 Detroit River communities where the waterfront does not add to the value. A city surrounded by Detroit on 4 sides where the assembly line was born and the lights were crowdfunded. The number 2 most affordable city in America where local knowledge determines everything. The most affordable city in America where the water is now safe and the reputation has not caught up. And a city completely surrounded by Detroit with the lowest cost of living index in Michigan and a restaurant scene nobody advertises. WalletHub ranked Flint and Detroit the 2 most affordable cities to buy a home in America. The national median home price is $293,956. The median price per square foot in Flint is $61. The math is available to anyone who looks. The reasons nobody is buying are also available to anyone who looks. Both sets of information belong in the same conversation. Subscribe to the channel. We cover Michigan every week, the full picture, not just the parts that photograph well.